Good morning and welcome back to our Food for Thought segment, sports betting picks and plays. This is be for the NHL edition, the National Hockey League Association. My name is Abby. Thank you for joining me. Now we're going to start off. We have a bunch of games here that we're going to start off with. We'll break them down game by game, and I'll give you my best bets and picks for the games at the end after we break down all the games. All right, so we're going to start off with Ottawa and Boston. It's the total is 5.5 goals. Boston favored. Right now, it's still at 5.5 goals. Has not moved. This game here, Ottawa, Boston, and if you're wondering where we're getting the odds from, on oddslogic.com for the latest updated line moves, over-under moves, totals moves, injury reports. Everything's here on oddslogic.com. That's where we're getting all the information from, in case you're interested, you're curious. So Ottawa, Boston. This matchup here, over/under 5.5. Ottawa favored. Again, they've played twice already. Boston's won both games in Boston. Ottawa won in Boston 3-2. The total is under 6. Then they won at home in Ottawa 6-5 in a shootout at home, and it was under 5.5 goals. Ottawa again, their last few games 1-9 to the under, 5-3-2 last 10 games, 1-9 last 10. Boston last 10, 3-5-1-1 last 10, 7-3 to the over. Last 5. Again, Boston's gone 5 straight overs. So they've gone over 5 straight. This particular game here, they just played they played a week ago and went over. It was 6-5. Yeah, the only way to look in this game again, I would go back to the over 5.5 goals. Yeah, this one would be the over. Ottawa, Boston over 5.5. That's probably the way to look. Or yeah, that's the only way to look. I would look. That's the way to look in this game. Over 5.5. Boston. Or if you didn't want to do that, you can do. You can look at a team total. Boston team total, because they've been putting up a lot of goals. They've gone over six straight times, and they're averaging over 3.5 goals. 4 goals. So I would look at Boston team total over 3.5. That's even better. So it's up to you, over 5.5 or over 3.5 goals. Team total Boston over 3.5. I like Boston here. Team total over 3.5. I like that. I like that angle. More than likely, I'll probably get there with that. Next game we're going to look at. Now, for the winner, the side, I have no opinion on the side who's going to win. I just got over 5.5, Ottawa, Boston. Team total 3.5, Boston. Philadelphia and the Rangers. This one is 6. Open up at 6, the total. Rangers favored. Right now, it's come down to 5.5. This one here, 7-3 last 10. 3-7 to the under. They played last year, November, in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's won 3-1 and was under 6.5 goals. Flyers last 10 against other opposition, 5-3, 1-1, 3-6-1 to the under. They've won 3 straight games and basically 2-3 to the under. Rangers 6-1-3 last 10, 5-5 total. 3-2 and 2-3 to the under. Yeah, so the only way to look here is under 5.5 goals. That's the only way to look. Rangers, Philadelphia under 5.5. That's my pick on that. For the side, no opinion on the side whatsoever. Next game, Montreal-Detroit, one of my top plays of the day. The total's 6. Montreal's at 6. Detroit favored, 125. Before I give my angles on that game, because I like that one a lot, we'll look at the last 10 meetings between these two teams. So here, 6-4 Detroit, 5-4 to the over. They played twice. First game in Detroit, total was 6. It was 4-3 Montreal. They won in Detroit. Second game in Montreal, the total was 6, and it was a push. And Montreal won 5-1. In this game here, I see Montreal 7-2-1 last 10, 4-5-1 to the under last 10 games. 4-1 last 5, and the last 5, 3-2 to the over. 4-5 overall, and 1 last 10. Detroit 6-3-1 last 10, 6-3-1 to the over. Detroit 3 straight losses. Again, I don't like betting on teams coming off a road trip, especially when you've lost 3 straight games. So my take on this, I like Montreal over 3.5 goals. Team total, Montreal over 3.5. I wouldn't talk you off of over the 5.5, but I like the 3. I like over 3.5 goals. I like that angle better. Montreal, Detroit, over 3.5. I like, because right now Detroit's having a hard time scoring. I know when they played Montreal in last month, they scored over 2 goals, but I mean a lot has changed over 30 days, over a month, and right now they're having a hard time scoring. So that's why I took the team. I like Montreal team total over 3.5 goals. Now again, I wouldn't talk you off over 5.5 because of the first 2 games of the series and the overall history of 5-4-1 to the over. But I like the team total Montreal over 3.5 goals. Next one here, Utah, Minnesota. Total 5.5. And for the total, Minnesota favored 140. We're seeing 6s come up across the board right now. Utah, Minnesota. We'll look at this one here. Head-to-head, 1-1, and then 1-1 to the over/under. They played twice. First game in Utah, December 10th last month. Total was 5.5. Minnesota won 5-4. It went over. Second game in Minnesota. Second game in Minnesota. First game in Utah, second game in Minnesota, December 20th. Total was 6. Utah won 2-1 and stayed under the total. Last 10 games for Utah against other opposition, 6-4, and then 6-4 to the over. Utah 2-3 last 5. Last 5 for Utah, 1-4 to the under. I'm sorry, this is Minnesota. Minnesota 2-3, and then last 5 for Minnesota is 2-3 to the under. Utah, meanwhile, 4-5, last 10, 4-5, and 1 to the under. So 2-3 Utah last 5, and here they are 3-1-1 last 5 to the over. Utah. So here I would lean to the over. I take the over here. Over 6 is a lean. I'm not sure if I'll get to the window, but I lean to the over. In terms of the side, no, let me see. Yeah, in terms of the side, I would lean to Utah. Utah plus 1.5 goals on the puck line. So I lean to the over. Utah plus 1.5 on the puck line. Next game, Vegas at St. Louis. Totals 6, and Vegas favored on the road in St. Louis. Now so we sell 1 5.5, but it's mainly 6s across the board. So this game here, So again, head to head, they played twice November 11th last year. Both games were in Vegas. Vegas won the first meeting. Total was 6, and went over the total 4-3. Second game in Vegas, they played about 3 days ago in Vegas. January the 20th. The total is 5.5. Vegas won 5-4 in a shootout. So this has been an over series, pretty much. Again, so St. Louis's last 10, 6-4 last 10, 5-4-1 to the under. St. Louis coming off a road trip. They won the last game, so they've coming off. But I don't like betting teams, like I said before in previous videos. I don't like betting teams coming off a road trip. The first game back off a road trip, I don't like to do that. I like to fade those teams. 1-3-1 to the under. Vegas has lost 4 straight games. Ooh. And 3-2 to the over. Vegas. This game's going to be a pass. No play on this game at all. I'm going to pass on this one. No play whatsoever. A lot of uncertainties in that game, so no way I'm touching that game. Next game's going to be Calgary and Buffalo. Calgary-Buffalo. Total 5.5 goals. And again, Calgary favored. It's gone up to 6 at one book at Circa and Bet Rivers. So up to 5.5 overall. This one here, Calgary last 5-5 even, and then 5-5 to the total. They played November 9th in Buffalo. It's 3-2 Buffalo. They won at home under in this game. Buffalo 4-5-1 last 10, 5-3 to the over. Buffalo's third game on the road. They've gone 1-1 to the total. 2-3, and then 4-1 to the over. Calgary 5-5 last 10, 2-8 to the under. Calgary coming off a road trip. Now it's a brief road trip, but then they're back in Minnesota again. So this is a weird one. This game's a pass as well. No play on this game. I got nothing here. Next game, Vancouver-Edmonton, total -5, and Edmonton favored. This game here, so we go over the last 10, Vancouver-Edmonton. Head-to-head, 5-5 last 10, 4-5-1 to the under. So they played twice already. Both games in Vancouver. Edmonton won the first game. The total was 6. They won 7-3 and went over the total. Second game in Vancouver. Total was 6. It went under, and Vancouver went 3-2. Vancouver right now, 3-5-2 last 10, 4-6 to the under. 2-3 to the under last 5 games. Edmonton 7-3 last 10, 4-6 to the under. Edmonton's lost 2 games in a row. Yeah, everything correlates to the under. The head-to-head series, they've gone under twice. I mean, they went under the second meeting, and they're under. The current form is under. So I would lean to the under 5.5. Vancouver, Edmonton. Pittsburgh, Anaheim. Anaheim total open up at 6. Pittsburgh favored. This one, no play on this one at all. I have nothing there. Seattle and Washington. Seattle 5.5. The total's 5.5 in this game, over under. Washington favored. This one I like the over. Seattle and Washington, I like the over. Over 5.5 goals. I like that one. And then Nashville, San Jose. That one, I don't have any opinion on that game whatsoever. That one's a pass. It's the reason why I'm passing on that game because it's a head-to-head. They played. It's a home-and-home series actually. So they played the first game in Nashville. This game's in San Jose. So it's kind of a tricky dichotomy, and it's a tricky angle to play. But so I'm not going to touch that game. My best bets for the hockey. I like Montreal team total over 3.5 goals. Ottawa, Boston. I like the over 3.5 goals Boston, and I lean to the under 5.5 as well. That's a good look. Under 5.5, over 3.5 goals Boston. So I like that look. That's Boston over 3.5 goals Boston team total under 5.5 full game. Winnipeg, St. Louis. Pass, nothing there. Utah, Minnesota, plus 1.5 Utah on the puck line. Would lean to the over as well, but I like the Utah on the puck line, 1.5. Seattle, Washington, over 5.5 goals. And that's all the picks for hockey. That's it. So we're finished the hockey segment. I give you all my best bets for hockey. Whether you fade or follow, it's up to you. I just make the picks how I see it fit. Stay true to yourself. Stay blessed. Believe in yourself. Good luck. Cash those tickets. Peace. We'll see you this afternoon for the NBA segment. We'll break down for the NBA the best bets, and we'll break down all the games for you, including the game in Paris between San Antonio and Indiana. We'll break all that down, and I'll give you a best bet for that. Until then, take care. Peace.